in a place where it's really, really good. So I have the luxury to sort of think about things that I don't ordinarily spend time thinking about. So what I thought I would do for my next 40 days is, and you heard Harry and I laugh about this yesterday. Uh, no more internet shopping. So I'm going to not buy anything online for the next 40 days. So I'm good with that. I don't know if Harry is good with that. I hope he bought everything he was going to buy yesterday. Uh-oh.
Um,
Here he come with the excuses.
I did buy my cashew supply for 40 days.
Okay. Well, you said you were going to do that.
But when I woke up this morning,
Uh-oh.
I told Karen that, why have two people sacrificing on the show?
See.
You
Here
know,
it comes. Here
I
it
think your
comes.
sacrifice is enough for both of us.
What's my sacrifice, Harry?
You're not gonna online shop. I think
No,
that
I'm not. I'm not online shopping. And I tried to shop last night, Harry. I was looking for stuff that I wanted and I couldn't do it. I was like, you know what? It's like when you go on a diet the day before and you eat all the junk food the night before. No, I'm not doing that. That's not the mindset that I want. So I didn't buy anything. I closed my apps.
yeah, I think I'm good. I think I could go 40 days, but I'm not promising anything.
Harry, the promise is just to you and God.
Well, this is
There's
actually me
no
and
lint
me.
police. I'm
I don't
just
know.
saying. So this is what I'm going to do, Harry. So I'm not shopping for 40 days. I'm not online shopping, which is going to be a little torturous because I enjoy online shopping. I love having packages come to my door. I mean, I just love that. But what I've decided to do, Harry, is I bought these uh, Target had these little blank books. They had like a pack of 8 of them, and there's like 8 pages. So I'm going to use them for my discernment and contemplation. And what I'm going to do, Harry, I'm going to spend the next 40 days working on dating, online dating. So I'm replacing online shopping with online dating.
Well, yeah, it's still online shopping, but differently.
Yes, but there's no transactions.
And let me just tell the audience, if anybody got dropped off of Facebook, you could go back on. I just stopped, that feed so I could create two different podcasts.
Yes, thank you very
So
much. I like that so that my guests can have their own little podcast. They
yeah.
can take it. So yeah, so Harry, I'm gonna so this is what I'm gonna do, Harry. So I'm gonna give you my plan. I'm turning my TV off every night at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna read every night. I'm reading because I got all these books I need to get out the way. So I'm gonna read at least 2 hours, get 2 hours of reading in. I'm going to write in my journals. I bought all these journals. These were $3 for a pack of 8 of these, and they're in all colors. So I figured this would be my Lenten commitment. So I will start with prayer. So it'll be a book about prayers and my dating experience. Mash them up. I know it makes no sense. And so I'm going to work on my dating profile today, Harry, so I can get it up in the next day or so. And then I'm going to start this journey of dating. It's time. And every day, Harry, every day will have its own song.
Okay.
Every day will have its own song. Like last night, I kicked it off with um, Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. So that was the theme. I think tonight, Harry's going to be Megan the Stallion. What is it? Classy, ratchet, bougie. You know what I'm talking about, Harry?
I know who
I
you're talking about. Yeah.
I love her, Harry. I love that song, Harry. So I think so every day there's going to be a song. I'll write a prayer, and I'll work on my profile. So by the end of this week, my profile should be up on a couple of sites. Harry, I'm gonna get me by 40 days. I'm gonna be booed up with somebody. Just saying.
That's good. I
We'll
mean,
see. We'll see how it goes, Harry.
40 days.
Harry, if I can't get a boo in 40 days,
If
then
you look, if you look on like on the Tinder app, it's copywritten by Jesus. That's what he did with his 40 days. He's like, you ain't gonna tempt me with bread, Satan, but
So I want people to know, if they didn't know why Harry and I will be on the same bar stool in hell, right there. So if you die and you walk into a bar and you see me and Harry at the end of the bar, you know you're not going to heaven. I don't care how nicely dressed we are.
just know that you'll be in the right place.
If you see Harry and I sitting at a bar, you know you are not going upstairs.
Don't worry about it. It's boring up there.
It's boring up there. You seen all the people up there, Harry? They can't drink, they can't. Oh, I think they have a little wine up there. Because the first miracle that Jesus did was, the wedding at Cana, turning water into wine. So they'll have wine, Harry.
Yeah, you could get drunk up there.
I think you can, Harry. But beyond that, Harry, yeah, no. But if you met your demise and you walk in and you see Harry and I sitting at the bar, you in the right place.
I got a fixed excuse. I got a fixed excuse for everything. Right? So even when I'm at the pearly gates and they're like, I don't think so. I'll be like, it's not my fault. LoveBabz, LoveTalk.
Harry, you still trying to throw me under the bus even at the pearly gates?
I'll be like, look at Babz, it's her. And then I'm the first one out because it's like, who made up these rules? Nah, let me out.
Harry, we'll have a good time. If we're sitting at the bar, everybody's going to want to hang with us. Who wants to go upstairs? Who's upstairs?
People be like, maybe up there with
who are you up there with? That is not fun. You're not going to be with the fun people. It's just not going to be fun.
I'm telling you, people will walk in through the pearly gates and be like, but where's Babz? You came up here? Nah, I want a refund.
House music all night long. Say what? House music all night long. Say what? House music all night long. I'm just telling you. So yeah, so today's theme for Lent is it WAP? Is that the song? Or is that the name of the song? Featuring Megan Thee Stallion. Is that the song?
What is it? WAP?
Is it WAP or what's her song? What's that song, Harry? Classy, Ratchet. Is that the song?
I'll tell you right now.
Because I like that song. And then tomorrow it'll be a different song. But that's the song. That's the song. So in 40 days, Harry, I'm gonna have a hell of a playlist.
Yeah, that's the Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes, Ife sent me the link. So yeah, so that's the song. That's the song for today. So yeah, that's my Lent. That's my Lent. Yep. So yeah.
Yeah, I like the album cover.
I know you do, Harry. They're classy. But the song that she sings, classy, ratchet, whatever she does, whatever that song is.
Yeah,
I don't know if I don't think that's the WAP song. Is that the WAP song?
I got it, but I'm not sure how clean it is, so I'm not.
Yeah, no.
Touch
it. No, you know what? It's classy, bougie. What is it? Savage. It's Savage. That's the song, Harry. Savage. Savage.
This is a nice transition to Troy.
Yes. I'll let him in now. So Savage is the song, Harry. So see if
Okay.
you could sample it a little bit before we get out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring Troy on. Thank God they can't hear in the hostage room. Good morning, Troy. How are you? You're on mute. Unmute yourself. Hello. Can you hear
All
me?
right. I'm not sure if
Hello.
anybody can hear me.
I
You
hear
know,
you. I hear you.
you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Hang on.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Jeez.
Oh! All right, tech guy. He can't hear me, Harry.
He can't hear us, so then we could keep talking about
About Savage.
Savage.
Test.
No,
I
but
don't know.
I'm gonna look up the clean version of that.
Their version, Harry. The one
Uh,
that you could,
I'm
know,
gonna leave
listen.
and come back in and use a different set of speakers.
Okay.
Okay.
all right.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Because we got time. So go ahead. Yeah. Hey, Harry, I guarantee you, I bet you somebody's going to turn that into a gospel song. Harry, how much do you want to bet somebody done took that Savage, because, and turned it into a clean gospel song?
I thought it was a gospel song.
Well, it will be for the purposes of Lent. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you
Can you
hear me
hear
now?
us now?
Good.
I know. I feel like I'm in one of those commercials.
I
I
know
see him.
I think that's the old Verizon.
The old Verizon.
Can you
They
hear me
need to
now?
bring it back, Harry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I need to buy a phone, Harry. This week I'm gonna be committed to finding a phone. I need a new phone. I don't want to, but I have to do it because all my apps are saying at some point you won't be able to use the apps on this phone.
Yeah.
That's how they get you, Harry.
You
Damn
know
it.
who got me to get them a phone was Bella,
Oh!
because she said, "Papa, the old phone you gave me, I no longer could update my apps." She said,
And
"I need a new."
apps
Yeah.
are important because you got to do schoolwork, all that other stuff.
I don't know, Bella.
Harry, do you want to be my grandfather?
Bella has her own laptop and everything. She doesn't use her phone for that.
Can you hear us, Troy?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. Good
No,
morning.
good.
That's all
Good
right.
morning.
Listen, this
Yeah,
is a
my
brand new
little
break.
headphones weren't working.
That's all right. How are you?
Good. I don't know if you heard about the crazy weather we're having out here.
It's coming
Texas,
this way.
Oklahoma.
I
Is
know.
it?
Now, where are you? What state are you in? Oklahoma?
I'm in Oklahoma. So the
Yes,
weather
y'all are
here is
getting.
just,
Yes, I saw
yeah,
that. Like y'all ain't never got weather like that. You're from the Northeast, right?
I am, but I don't think I've ever experienced weather this cold. I think the coldest I've ever been was at the top of a mountain in Vermont in a chairlift, exposed to the elements, and this is worse than that. I mean, it hurts to go outside. Yeah, it's crazy.
You don't
It's
have to go
crazy.
outside, do you? Stay in the house.
I don't. But on a more serious note, I live across the street from the Arkansas River, and there are homeless people sleeping out there in tents.
Oh
It's
gosh.
this homeless. Yeah, and
So
it's
is
just,
there no social services that can go over there and like gather these people and put them in a school or something while this weather is? Oh Lord, that
I
is.
have to believe there is. You know how they make those announcements in New York? They open
Yeah,
up schools and things
shelters.
like
Like
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do it here in Kentucky
So
all the time.
is that right? Yeah. No, I mean I haven't heard any notices like that, but
So are you going
yeah,
over there bringing
homelessness.
people food?
Uh, um,
Oh, and I don't want
that's
to
a
give you
good
any
idea,
ideas.
actually.
Oh Lord.
No, 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 no.
Okay. Listen, listen.
Yeah.
Do what we can, where we can, while we can, if you're able. So, no,
Yeah.
this weather
Yeah.
is crazy. We're expecting snow tomorrow, like tonight. Tonight and
Okay.
tomorrow, about 8 inches on top of the gazillion tons of snow we already got. This is the most snow
Yeah.
we've gotten in a short period of time in
Oh wow.
years. In
Okay.
years.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I don't
this is
think.
good.
Yeah, tech place Houston is having rolling blackouts because of the
I
demand.
know. I saw that. I
Yeah, it's ugly. I mean,
I was like,
it's
what the
ugly.
hell is going on?
People losing their water because of water main breaks,
They've
and
got like 4.5 million people in Texas without power.
yeah,
That's like somebody's whole state. Like that's
yeah, and you don't want to go without power under these conditions. You know,
oh.
yeah.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, I don't know. I mean, have they started? Do they have places for you all to go if you lose your power? Like, what happens?
I don't know. You just bundle up, I guess. I don't know. I am,
You have a
this is new to
fireplace,
me. Actually, I do have a fireplace.
like a wood burning fireplace,
Like as opposed to what?
a
Uh
gas.
oh no, it's a wood burning fireplace, yeah.
Do you have wood in the house? Like, do you need to go and bring some wood in the
I actually
house?
have some wood, but it's more for ambiance rather than throwing off heat. I mean that's what I use it for. I have
Do you know how to
outdoor.
light the fireplace? Like, have you used it?
Yeah, the fireplace is ready to go. You might be able to tell that it's been used.
Okay, all right,
All right, yeah.
okay. Because you know what, I can't. I just, I sold my house, and we had a fireplace which I loved.
Right. Yeah, I didn't think I would like. I mean, in this apartment, I didn't think I would like. It wasn't a selling point for me. But
Really,
once I started
very
using, it, I was like,
romantic.
yeah.
Very
Once,
romantic. You
yeah.
must. What kind of game you got? You got no
Ha,
romance game? What is going on? You have a whole fireplace there. You should have your couch facing that fireplace. You should have a little wine cellar in your,
you
little
see that
wine
wine
rack.
glass? It's only one wine glass there, though.
All right,
But
well, you gotta
there's
get.
the sofa and it's facing
You know how
the
invitations work,
fireplace.
right? Ask somebody. I'm just. I know. He's like, Babz, I didn't come on your show for this. I did not come on your show for dating scorn. It's all right.
No, all right.
So, AALBC. So, what I wanted to talk to you about today, because I so enjoyed your conversation the last time you were here, and so did a bunch of other people. People
Okay.
really enjoyed listening to you, and you have a great voice, and you should use that voice for other things, right? Like sell some stuff or
Okay.
read somebody's book or something. Got a good sounding voice.
All right. Thank
But I
you.
want to talk about resources for writers. I was listening to Toy Derricott and
Cornelius Eddy, Copy
yes,
Con.
yes, I was listening to them yesterday. They were here. Well, they were part of New Haven's Free Public Library Mardi Gras.
Oh
So
wow.
they were in conversation with Dwayne Betts. I don't know if you know. I'm sure you know Dwayne Betts.
I don't know him personally, but I know who he is. Yep.
Yeah. So he was moderating the conversation between the two of them for our Mardi Gras, celebrating our free public library here.
Wow.
And it was such a wonderful, rich conversation. And he was talking about the limited resources for writers. And when he came out of prison, when he was in prison, Cave Canem was the thing. Like that was the thing that saved him,
Wow. He's
as a
fortunate.
writer.
Okay.
And he was like, he didn't give a damn about nothing else but getting into one of those programs, and he did, and so it changed the trajectory of his life.
Sure.
And so I thought, what a wonderful way to talk about resources and opportunities for writers to sort of that can make a difference. And he said something else too. He challenged them to sort of like, just don't take the most obviously talented writers, but take writers who you may not see their talent initially, but if you take them, you could grow that talent, or they can realize or actualize that talent
Sure.
by virtue of opportunity of being in that space. And I never thought about that before. Like, how many people who probably are very talented don't know that they're talented because no one ever said you should stick with this.
Yeah. Or even if they simply aren't exposed to it. I mean, I always complain about, and it's not just writing, it's all walks of life, whether it's, there's a lot of focus on STEM, and, we need to educate students, but if students aren't exposed to certain things, obviously they can't excel in them. I'm sure there are great scientists and great writers who will never emerge just because they weren't in the type of environment to foster those skills. So yeah, I agree with him in that sense. You know, you can't know if you wait for the talent to present itself because it's been nurtured, and you know, you're limiting yourself. So I mean, there's a lot of great talent that's, you know, on the streets of Harlem and, you know, sitting on the stoop and not doing anything. You know, it's just unrealized potential. The which is what makes, you know, our school system so tragic in a lot of ways, is that particularly at the earlier grades in cities like New York, as an example, you know, there just aren't a lot of great schools, and people who have money can afford to send their kids to private schools and get great educations. I mean, the U.S. has, you know, some of the greatest. For people with money, it's one of the best places to get an education. But
can I just tell you, for COVID, 5% of private schools shut down. 67% of public schools shut down.
Yeah, and if you look at the private schools that did shut down, I would pretty much guarantee that they are not the wealthiest schools. In other words, they're parochial schools, perhaps, that are working with a limited budget, that are private. But if you think about one of the Tony Upper East Side schools, you know, they probably fared much better. And on top of that, they have the resources within the family. I mean, you know, I teach at Baruch College, and you know, one of the
my grad school.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah. And one of the things that, you know, so when the pandemic hit, almost close to a solid year ago, you know, the school shut down and they went fully online, and they immediately realized that many students just could not participate. You know, they didn't have high-speed internet access. They didn't have devices that they could use at home. And so there was an academic pause while they distributed, it was 50,000 Wi-Fi enabled tablets. And even that's not, you know, ideal, but it's better than nothing. So the schools that remained open, the students come from families that have all kinds of resources. You know, when I give a lecture, I don't require my students to turn on their camera, because I realize that many of them are working in environments where, you know, the kids running around in the background. And this apartment that I'm renting here in Oklahoma, you know, only has, you know, it's just me, but in every home I've had previous to this, you know, I had an office. So, you know, I'm sitting in the middle of my living room, you know, doing this. But if there were other people running around, it would just be a lot more challenging. And then if you have multiple people all on trying to do Zoom calls, and it's just really challenging.
And that's a reality for people, because I've seen it. You know, you got the kids in the dining room, you got your dad in the bedroom, cousin over there in the bathroom, like everybody's in there.
Right.
You know, but that's if you are able to do that. The people that peoples are not able to do that. There's one cell phone between everybody, and they got to use that cell phone to do work and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. So, you know, even just sitting at a dining room table, you know, suppose, you know, you got members who need to eat, or it's just it's just a challenge. You know, when I was raising my kids, everyone had their own room, everyone had their own laptop. That was more or less typical for the kids they also went to school with.
And you had what, 2 daughters, didn't you? Or
yeah,
had.
I have 2 daughters. They're grown and doing their own thing. But yeah, that's a big deal. And here's the kicker: is the school also realized that some of the professors were challenged technically. So they were distributing technology to professors. You know, so, you know, it's you do that a little differently because you don't want to embarrass people, but, you know, they had to extend support to some of the professors.
Wow.
Yeah,
and that's because professors couldn't afford. Like, what's the truth? What's the story in that?
Yeah, I actually don't know. I mean, I'm not in that position, and I don't know anyone else. I mean, I don't know a lot of the other professors actually, but yeah, it's not inconceivable that there are people who are challenged to pay for internet access at home. It's just, that's not, you know, without getting into a conversation about how professors are paid, or, in fact,
we know it's a problem because just paying attention to the Oakland story, right? With teachers can't afford to live in Oakland.
It's yeah. And so
like
New
that
York,
whole story was crazy.
yeah. So the role of an adjunct isn't, I'm not a full professor who's on campus every day and engaging in research and advising students. And, I haven't set a foot on campus in well over a year. And it's not just because of the pandemic. I don't live in New York City. So I teach remotely, and like many adjuncts, we aren't as fully invested in the school's community as, someone who works there full time. Mm-hmm. So most of my students only have only had adjuncts. And, I don't want to, how do I couch this in a way where I don't sound like I'm slamming Baruch, because Baruch is not unusual. But
yeah, that's the adjunct work. I've been an adjunct, so
okay. All right, then you can appreciate there are adjuncts trying to make a living in New York City adjuncting.
Yes.
So that's a challenge.
It's like a gig economy. it really is like gigging.
It absolutely is a gig economy. That's the perfect description of it. With the exception is there is a union. So they're like some in the gig economy, they're trying to rectify some of the disadvantages of working in the gig economy, like lack of benefits and lack of security, and but these jobs, like the gig economy jobs, they're not really designed for people trying to live off of them.
Right.
So you do this because you have free time, you have expertise you like to share. The extra money is great, but you can't live off this kind of money. And so, I can see where there might be some adjuncts who are struggling to make a living doing this type of work in New York City, benefiting from being able to obtain free Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. The school is closed. You can't go to the school and take advantage of the computer labs and the resources they provide there. So I have a desk and a high-end computer sitting in Baruch going to waste. But if you don't have access to those resources, I can absolutely see where people would need help, like the students. So, but going back to your original question about resources for writers, I wasn't prepped for this particular question, and I'm not. It's only recently I consider myself a writer. I'm not
really.
Only because I've been paid to write a number of times. So by definition, I'm professional. However, I've never been one. I'm not one to have studied the craft of writing, and that is not my primary focus. So no, I'm not a While I would describe myself, yes, Troy has written professionally. No, I'm not a professional writer. That said, I do, because of my experience with writing, I do realize there are a lot of resources that writers need. And particularly when you talk about writers who are trying to publish books, there's just a whole universe of information that needs to be provided to writers on every aspect of the book production process, from, learning how to write properly. When you write, having your manuscript edited. When the manuscript is edited, having someone proof it, having someone design the book cover, design the internals of the book, collecting and all of the metadata that's needed to actually sell a book and put it in the marketplace, having someone print the book, having someone distribute the book.
So now, were you getting these questions like,
people?
I think people would go to you as an expert in this because of AALBC. Like that's just a natural thing. They're like, oh, I want to publish a book. Oh, who do I know? Oh, I'll call Troy.
Yeah, that's every day, literally every day. And it's impossible to respond and to all of those questions. When someone comes at you with a big question like, I just wrote a book, what do I do next? You know, you can't answer that question easily. So, you know, I do have a page that I direct people to, but, you know, I know that's not going to be sufficient because there's just so much that someone who, you know, have you had the book edited? Do you have the resources to do that? Some people aren't even inclined to have their book edited. They think it's good enough as it is.
Oh, I know. I run into those people too.
And
it cracks me up every time.
And that's just so it's just a hard thing to deal with.
It's like you call their child ugly or something.
Exactly.
I mean, they just don't want to hear it.
You know,
Toni Morrison. What do you mean?
Toni Morrison gets edited. Everybody gets edited. You know, who's serious about producing a quality book, that is. So I don't engage. I just don't have the time to really engage in those types of conversations. So if I have to engage with you on the level of why is it important to have your book edited one-on-one, you know,
that says you're not ready.
Yeah, and there are people who can advise on that. So, but I'm not. That's not my role. So I will direct them to people who can help them.
So do you feel like you feel obligated to put something on the site? I mean, because you do have access to resources to your site.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah.
I mean, do you feel, because you didn't always have that, did you? Like,
actually, I did. There was always a resource section of the website. You know, it's why I know who Cave Canem is, because I've gone out and looked at people who provide the types of resources that would benefit writers. So if you go to my site and do a search on Cave Canem, you'll find information about them. You know, so yeah, from jump, there was always, you know, there was a writer's resources section of the site. Now it's called just resources. So it's not an exhaustive list of everything that an author needs, but it's things that people, independent authors who are interested in getting a book published, there are resources there that will help. Mm-hmm. One of the most popular ones, particularly this particular year and last year, was the you know, the bookstore listing. I think we might have talked about that last time we chatted. You know, that. So I published it originally to help not just authors but readers find places to find books, and you know, there's been an increased desire from readers of all backgrounds to support independent Black-owned bookstores. So that list has gotten it's one of my most popular pages on the site.
And we're starting to see Black bookstores come back, or I don't want to say come back, but the renewed interest in them. Because I think for a minute they were just like shutting down across the land. And now I'm starting to sort of see.
Yeah, the pandemic. Yeah, the pandemic is a big wild card. Yeah, there are stores that are closing in the midst of the pandemic for all obvious reasons. There's some that have been able to enjoy a level of prosperity, even record level sales, because of the interest. You know, most of the stores that were able to benefit were the older stores, particularly stores that had e-commerce platforms. Mm-hmm. You know, or stores that were able to do, you know, were able to remain open on some level and ship books. But no, you know, all told, the pandemic has made a bad situation worse.
Listen, I saw the Strand bookstore was in trouble a few months back, right? Like, you know, the Strand in New York, which is probably it's not a Black bookstore, but it's one of my favorite bookstores.
Yeah, I'm in there all the time. I mean, I go in there and sell books and then walk around to Trader Joe's and buy a case of their $3 Chuck wine, or whatever you call that wine they have. So that was the thing. I would go there, sell some books, and buy some wine. But yeah,
that's how you keep the economy going.
And yeah, the Strand always had great presentations. You know, I've been doing them up there, and you know, even I watched them on the web. You know, so no, they were. So the idea that they're struggling, I know they did one thing that I was pretty cool with. They stopped selling to Amazon. You know, a lot of bookstores are starting to see the disadvantage of selling books through Amazon. So as a third-party marketer, you know, so that actually is a trend that might tend to help indie booksellers in the long term. I'm also trying to get a hold of there was a group that brought the Tatted Cover bookstore chain in Denver, Colorado. Have you heard about this?
No.
So the Tatted Cover is a great chain of bookstores. I've been to 2 of them, and they're both excellent, large bookstores, real bookstores, not cafes or they're bookstores.
Hear a little scorn there. You don't like cafe bookstores?
No, I think they're fine, but I think when you start talking about,
I don't want to mix my coffee with my books.
No, yeah. So I'm talking about a store that has tens of thousands of books on the shelves. These stores were, if I was to estimate the square footage, we're talking about tens of thousands of square feet.
Wow.
Yeah, these are large bookstores, and it was and there's multiple, multi-level, shelves upon shelves of books, and individuals in there selling books. A bookstore you can go in and talk to somebody and get a book recommendation. So, at any rate, this store was purchased by an investment group, and one of the investors is a brother. And when they first launched, or when the transaction closed, they touted themselves as the largest Black-owned bookstore chain or bookstore in the country. They got a lot of backlash as a result of that, because it was a group of people, and he's just one of them. So I'm actually trying to find out if he owns 50% or more of it, then I would consider that a Black-owned store and add it to my list. And it would be far and away the largest Black-owned bookstore. And at least the 2 that I visited, any one of them will be the largest Black-owned bookstore. But if he is just a shareholder, or like any publicly traded company, and he doesn't have a majority stake, then I wouldn't consider that the largest Black-owned bookstore. But so when I think about bookstores, I think about bookstores like that. Bookstores that you don't have to be massive. There are plenty of smaller bookstores that I think are you have people who are interested and are mission driven and are supporting the community, and that's primarily with books. So that's not to cast aspersions on stores that sell coffee, but
like Busboys and Poets and
Busboys and Poets is a large restaurant. They have entertainment space, and they happen to sell books, but that's not. Yeah, so Busboys and Poets, great business. They have, I don't know how many they have now, 6.
Is it that they have to 6? Okay.
I haven't. I heard they were expanding a great deal, and I think the owner was even running for mayor at some point. But I've been to Busboys and Poets. Again, a great business, but it's not. When I think about bookstores, I don't think about necessarily Busboys and Poets.
Okay.
As an example,
okay.
I think about it could be a small store like Sisters Uptown in Harlem. It could be a larger store like Dare Books in Longwood, Florida. It could be a smaller.
Harriet's in, where's Harriet's? In Maryland?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
Yeah, I've only seen that store from the outside, but it does strike me as
they've got nice they've got a nice social media presence.
Yeah. So and there are a lot of stores that have that. Some don't. There's some stores, that present really well in the media. I know a store like the Lit Bar has does really well in the media. So, and so there's a combination. There's room for all of these types of stores, but again, I'm most interested in even Human. So Human was a bookstore and cafe
in Harlem. Right?
Yeah, and they sold, but they were a legitimate bookstore, in the sense that, when you walked in, it's like, all right, I'm in a bookstore. But yeah, so Human doesn't exist. There aren't any Black-owned bookstores in Harlem, which is, if you think about it, if you want to call
Yeah.
Harlem the Black Mecca, the idea that they don't have a Black-owned bookstore is just crazy to me.
Yes.
And,
Would you consider going back to New York and opening a bookstore in Harlem?
Would I consider that?
Dream? Is that a dream?
It's
Is that a thought? I don't know. I'm just asking. It
yeah,
just seems I would see you that way, but
yeah. The thought crossed my mind, but running a bookstore is
really,
hard. Yeah, running a bookstore is not easy.
I
So
know. I ran one for my. I have a. Well, there was one Black bookstore here in New Haven, Black Print Heritage Gallery, a Walking Truth Christian bookstore. It was ran by my girlfriend for, I don't know, 30 something years, and
wow.
she just sold the building, I don't know, a few years back. I mean, because they were they're in their 70s. It's
Yeah,
time to, do you know what I mean? Like, and if your kids don't want to run a daggone bookstore, what are you gonna do?
yeah. So
So
that is a challenge, and the benefit she had, if she owned the building the store was in,
she did.
that's one of the greatest predictors of the success of a bookstore. So
Yeah.
you're always at the mercy of the landlord raising rent,
Yes.
and that's one of the challenges for opening up a bookstore in Harlem. The rents are outrageous, and when I say outrageous, given the margins of a bookstore and what they're charging for rent, it's hard to just simply, the economics are very challenging. So the bookstore would need a tremendous amount of community support and perhaps some incentives from the local government in order to just work. And then
Wow.
if you're able to get all of that, or perhaps buy a building, then you have to actually put in the work of running a bookstore, which is, again, always challenging. It's just
Yes.
so. So my hats are off to anybody that will attempt that. And if you have, you got to do what anybody that does it, I
So
celebrate.
is owning a bookstore a thought for you?
No, not right now. For the reasons I mentioned.
Like ever?
Perhaps. I mean, once I slow
Okay.
down, so I'm still, I'm still moving around. It's like I haven't even settled down yet. The I've, someone who runs a bookstore, like I was in a bookstore in Wichita, Kansas. Actually, it's basically a house that someone turned into a bookstore. It was and it was an interesting niche. It was just religious text. It was a big store. It was cramped because of just, it's a house, so you had bookshelves everywhere. And the guy hadn't taken the day off in 20 years.
Woo!
Yeah, so he,
Yeah,
the
no.
only break that he took
I can't run
was
a bookstore.
he took 2 days off to go to his son's wedding in California. But you need a certain level of commitment. And if you're the type that wants to be able to go, the Caribbean for a couple of weeks, several times a year, maybe running a bookstore is not for you. It takes a certain level of commitment, and not just in terms of physically being there, but learning the products and getting to know the people who come in the store. It's it's a challenge. So I stay in my lane. I do the web. And in fact,
and that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot to do what you're doing. I mean, because you have to curate. I mean, you have to stay on top of the latest, the newest, the whatever.
Yeah, and so yeah, I stay up on top. I do my best to do that. Obviously, I can't read everything that I'm promoting, so I rely on people who are more knowledgeable, or whether they're editors at publishing houses, or whether it's monitoring who Cave Canem, for example, recognizes. So I may have discovered Dwayne Betts through Cave Canem. I don't recall, but it's very, very possible that that's how I learned about his work and got it up on the site and sell his work. And so I look at all of these platforms and try to cobble together my take on what's the best that's out there. But what I would really benefit from would be someone who actually has time to sit down and read a lot of the books. You never want to read them all, or a team of people to tease out the best of the best even, and say you really need to read this book because it's just so good, and here's exactly why, not just regurgitating marketing promotional copy. So I do have I do that, but it's I need, it'd be great to have someone on staff to do that regularly.
Do that.
So so I'm talking to one.
That'd be a good job. Like, I'd want that job. If I could only do that, though.
Okay.
So, I got like a ton of books now. I'm behind it. I mean, I run a daggone newspaper, so I'm always reading, but not reading fast enough. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Enough.
So I start a lot of books. I start a lot of books. Some of them are on that shelf over there.
I see. And Mr. Edie had talked about. They talked about you could tell a lot about a person by the closeness and the proximity of their bookcase to where they are.
Oh, I see one or two behind you too. Yeah.
This is my that's my this is my hutch, and it's all books. Like, I don't have China in it anymore.
No China in it. Okay.
It's just all books, right? So and then I book everywhere. So
our place in Florida is the garage. Most people have tools and junk. I have literally books. Yes. So my garage is basically a storeroom for my books.
What are you gonna do? You have to, I don't know what it is, and I keep buying books, right? Because you just gotta. So, but in talking about listen, what time is it? I got like 1 minute left. See, my time with you goes so quickly. So that means you have to come back. You're like a running conversation with Troy Johnson.
Right.
People were like, "How did you get him to come on so much?" I'm like, "I don't know, but
I know you got that control."
Oh, I just love it. So, because I want you to come on because I think it's still mystery connected to books, booksellers, and people who write books. There's still mystery about how people get books to market, how people get book deals, how people get on bestseller lists, how people win prizes. It's still mystery to that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't try to suggest that I know the answers to all of those either. Yeah, I mean, because a lot of it, there's not a lot of transparency in how that happens. Last year there were a lot of Black children's book award-winning authors. There were just a ton of them, and this year not so much. And it wasn't because they were, and I don't know why. I don't know why last year, and this wasn't even I suspect that there was an increased focus on Black books due to the increased focus on Black lives. That I am benefiting today from increased sales from people who would normally not support my site, but who began to support the site as a result of, I think the match that set things off was, George Floyd's execution.
Yeah, you said that, which is,
that was.
I mean, there were so many other executions prior to that, right? Like, what was it about that sort of, was that the straw? Well, like, no, that can't be the straw, right? Because we've had deaths since, right? Like.
Yeah, that one. I mean, I haven't even watched the video. I just don't want to put that in my spirit, so to speak.
Traumatized.
Yeah, but that, as it's been explained to me, that was, I guess, just because it was so public and it's so visceral, an experience for many people, that one was different. And the outpouring of support from people for Black booksellers has been unprecedented, and I'm still feeling a residual benefit from that, as many others are.
Wow.
It's unfortunate that's what it took, and we'll see if it continues. But we need more of that. So the more books that I can sell, the more business I get, the better I can do what I do. I mean, so it's one of these things that we can create this environment of booksellers and stores. A lot of the great bookstores that I know actually do things like framing art. And
well, that's what my girlfriend did. I mean, she framed,
I could
gallery.
There was a great store in Black Images Book Bazaar in Dallas did that. They're closed now, but there's a store in Little Rock, Pyramid Book. I don't know the name of the store, but in the name of the store, they sell art, they sell books, and they do framing.
I think I need to get me a print out your list of bookstores and like make it like how you do the tour of the Underground Railroad. Like I'm going to see America through all the Black bookstores.
So here's
that would be fun. You want to do that? Let's do that.
Yeah,
we could get money to do that, Troy. We'd have fun.
Figure out how to do that because that's actually something I was interested in doing.
We can afford to give us a car.
Yeah, no, get it. No, a RV. We can get it wrapped and tour.
You would do it. You would do it. Like if I, it would be fun.
I was actually thinking about doing that. That is an idea that I had. I do it anyway. I just don't do it formally. And like I said, I go to these stores because I'm just interested in seeing how people run them. And that store in Little Rock that I just described, you could put that anywhere in the country and it would be a terrific store. It's just so.
All right, I'm gonna work on that. We're gonna go on a See America Through the Bookstore tour.
We can
bookstore tour.
All right,
I gotta go.
I got the stores lined up. All right.
So that means you have to come back on because I have a good girlfriend. As I told you, she runs the Elm City Lit Festival launched last year, and she wants to hear you talk about the value of lit festivals and book clubs. So you have to come back on.
The literary events are the second most popular thing on my site, and I'll be glad to do that. So
we'll find another day and you'll come on. All
right, sounds good.
Thank you so much, Troy. I appreciate your grace around coming on when I ask you.
All right, no problem. My pleasure.
Enjoy the day, enjoy the snow, and stay indoors because it's very cold there.
Yeah. All right, take care.
All right, my dear. Thank you. All right, Harry, I know I got to go.
I'm a savage, yeah. Classy, bougie, ratchet, yeah. Sassy, moody, nasty, hacking, stupid, what's happening?
Hi, this is Babz Rawls-Ivy, New Haven.
Eat me and record it, but your edge up all I'm showing. I keep my private, so it's AP all I'm showing. Beefing with you, just really getting kind of boring. If it ain't about the money, then you know I'm gonna ignore it.